What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this video. Today we're going to discuss part 2 of Android reverse engineering. If you remember, in the previous video we discussed all of this that you see now in front of the screen. We discussed the file format, we discussed the objectives, we discussed the key files, and we mentioned that while analyzing an Android APK, it's very important to look at the main activity, the main function, the Android manifest, which is an XML file, and to check out if there is an assets directory. Because if there was an assets directory, it means that the code was compiled and created using React Native. We also discussed the tools used in Android reverse engineering. We discussed there is the APK tool to decompile an APK, and we have Jadx and Ghidra. Now, I'm going to add the fourth tool, which is Frida. See, Frida is a dynamic instrumentation toolkit for developers, reverse engineers, and security researchers. It can be installed as portable or free. Thing is about Frida is that it is used to, in other words, dynamically analyze an Android APK. So in order to effectively use Frida, you have to have an application installed on an Android phone and the Android phone connected to your device so that you can analyze the application using Frida. Now there are the docs here where you can go through the installation. It's easier to go to the GitHub repo, and here we can see all of the available packages. So we have for Windows, we have for Android, FreeBSD, and iOS. Okay, let's go back. As mentioned earlier, it is just I'm mentioning that there is Frida here, and I'm going to give you a simple use case of Frida, but not in a deep dive way, because maybe later on we're gonna use Frida in a more detailed fashion. Today we're gonna just take another sample and analyze it and see where you need to use Frida, at which point you will need to dynamically analyze the application. So now we have the sample, and we're gonna start the analysis. So the first thing first, we're gonna use Jadx-GUI, and on a separate tab I'm going to invoke Ghidra, and you will know why later. Okay, so now in Jadx we learned that in order to import an APK file, we click on open file and we browse to the APK. As you can see, we click on open, and as you can see, we bring up the structure, directory structure. So we expand the source code .com example, and here we can see the main activity. This is the main function which we're going to go through. Let's first start by going through the main functions. As you can see, we have imports and a couple of function declarations. Among them is the main activity here. So in this code we can see a couple of, as I said earlier, function declarations, view, on-click listener, we have the text watcher, on-text changed, and a couple other functions. Scrolling all the way down, we can see that we have this public native functions being declared, string from JNI, JNI2, JNI3, but these functions are declared as public native. So in order to view these functions, we're gonna have to take a look at the dynamic link library, DLL Windows, or in Linux it is the shared library. Okay, in order to take a look at these functions, that's why we're gonna invoke Ghidra. So in Ghidra here, I'm gonna open an existing project. Okay, let's open a new one, create a new project. And set the project name, say Android 3. And once we're ready, we're gonna click on the chest, tool chest. All right. Go to file and click on import. Locate the file or the APK file. It is here, sample app 2. And now here we have this. The file sample app seems to have nested files in it. Select an import mode. Since we want to analyze only the shared library, or to reveal the functions that have been called from here as public native, we're gonna choose file system. And from file system, here as you can see the directory structure of the APK file after extracting it. Remember that APK applications or Android applications are just mere zip files. That's why you see the directory structure extracted. Gonna highlight or drill down on lib and then x86, 64, and as you can see this is the shared file. Double click on the shared file, we confirm the settings and I click on OK. So they are, as you can see guys, from the name of the function, this is GNI, GNI2 and GNI3. Okay, let's go back. So now we kind of understand the structure of the code. Let's see here. I have the first function, view on click listener. It defines the buttons and the main functionality and the selection to the user. As you can see here, we have select an item to buy, and then the user has the option to order from the main menu. Text watcher, not that important. Remember that when we debug a code or when we analyze a sample code, we should first define the objectives and mentioned earlier. So here, while analyzing or reverse engineering a code, one of the objectives is to do a security check, see if there are any bugs or weaknesses in the code. We call this code review. Sorry for the font, I don't have the required tools to effectively write on the board for now. And the other option or the objective is to extract secrets such as API keys, license keys, that's how softwares are cracked, passwords, hashes, IP addresses. In our scenario here, we're looking to understand the mechanism behind a discount code created by the application, and when the user submits that discount code, they get a discount on the order. So this demonstrated by, if you scroll down, you can see that there is in the main activity here, we have this function defined here as onTextChanged. And onTextChanged here, as you can see, we have defined a variable as a string. The variable name is OPJ, and as you can see, it is string taken from the user. Probably this is the discount code that is asked from the user if they want to apply a discount on their order. And then we have this function that we mentioned earlier, string from GNI. It's called here and assigned to a class called string from GNI. And then we have the main activity, and then this secret key space, a class called secret key space given to this variable secret key space. And looks like that this represents a secret key. The secret key is compiled by calling the function string from GNI2, converting the return, what is returned from the function, into bytes, and coupled with the value returned when calling the function string from GNI3. So probably here, this is the secret key here, calculated by taking into account the values returned from the string GNI2 and the string GNI3 after converting into bytes. We have a class called cipher. The class cipher is given to the variable cipher, and probably this is the encryption algorithm calculated by calling the function string from GNI3. As you can see, these three functions are very critical to the inner workings of this code. So in order to understand the mechanism of creating the discount and later on to find the discount secret calculated here, we have to get the values returned from these functions. And here we have this. After the cipher is created, it is entered into decryption mode. 2 means decrypt, and it is given the secret key space as the key, secret key spec. So this is the key, and this is the encryption algorithm, and we have an if statement. Let's go over the if statement. In the if statement, we compare the variable OPJ here, which represents the text or the input given or taken from the user, and it is compared against the base 64 decode from the string from GNI, and then converted back to UTF-8. So what's going on here? There is secret key or secret value calculated using the cipher from string GNI3 and the secret key from string GNI3 and string GNI2. This value is converted into base 64, and when the if statement comes up, the value is decoded from base 64, converted into UTF-8, and compared to the user input. So there is one value, okay, one value that represents the discount code and compared against the user input. Now the comparison here focuses on the, as you can see, not equal. So if the value doesn't equal, okay, if the secret code doesn't equal to the user input, as you can see here, the price is set as probably $5. Else, if the user enters the correct discount code calculated by using the encryption algorithm, they are given a discount 2.5. So the value here is different, $2.5 or $5, depends on the outcome. And other functions are related to the taking orders from the user. So our objective here is to extract secrets, okay? It means we have to find out the secret discount code calculated using the onText changed. To do that, you know that we have to take a look at string GNI2, GNI3, and GNI that have been defined here. Since they are public native, we're gonna have to go to Ghidra. So string from GNI1. Now the code is given here. This is the code. We aim to find the value here. As you can see, guys, if you go back to the code here in JADX, what is taken into consideration when calling these functions is the return value. So I have to take a look at the return value. As you can see, it returns UVAR5, but there is no clear text value or hard-coded credentials as to what is the value of UVAR5. Same with GNI2. If you take a look at the value returned, it is UVAR4, and same with the last one, there's a value returned called UVAR1. So it looks like here we cannot find hard-coded secrets. So in order to find the values of these variables returned from these three functions, we're gonna have to use Frida. So in Frida, what we're going to do, we're gonna invoke Frida from the command line and define a couple of arguments, such as -u. -u is to enable USB debugging. And we have to define -l. With -l, we're gonna define a script to load, and -p for the process PID. So what's all that for? Okay, the first thing is we have to provide a script. Here probably we're gonna have to create a JavaScript code. Basically the code will call the three imported functions and print their values. So the three imported functions are literally, they are mentioned earlier, as mentioned earlier, string from GNI, 2 and 3. We have to call them using this script and print their values. This will enable us to fetch the process ID. So the process ID has to be retrieved as well and given to Frida. The process ID can be found when you dynamically connect an Android device running this app. So you have to run this app on an Android emulator, okay, and then use Frida, okay, along with the script to calculate these values. So we're gonna keep this for the upcoming videos, as this will need a separate video to be able to understand how Frida works and how to actually implement all of what we talked about. So that was for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm gonna see you later.